Hey YouTube, I am Joe from Joe's Shop, and I thought we would have a look today at a little something I whipped up. I don't like sharpening. In fact, it's really, I'd rather polish toilets than sharpen knives. So I thought there's got to be a better way to do this, you guys. I mean, I need something to hold the knife so that I'm not constantly twisting it left and right, so I get a really good edge on it. So I made this thing behind me here, or behind the scenes, that holds it from twisting left and right. You can't get any twist that way. You can only get up and down and left and right, like your arm should be doing when you're using a V sharpener. So I thought, hey, wouldn't that be cool if we could do this? And then I could sharpen this way, where you get the downstroke in there and the up. I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And you guys, it works so good. It's just evil wrong. So I'm like, all right, I gotta share this with the world. You just turn these handles and you bring them in and out to do whatever you need from 0 to 30 degrees. Take your little tool, tighten these stones in if you want them nice and tight. If you don't, you can just leave it at the bottom here with the cap put on it and it'll work. Then we have this thing in back. I mean, you guys all have a way to hold your stones at home, but I just made this because it's a lot more stable when I'm in between the serrations. It typically gets those stones all moving around when you do that. You gotta do it nice and slow and easy, and I get into the gullets, like brushing their little teeth until you get all the stone marks out of there and it's all polished in the gullet. Looks really cool, ends up real sharp, like this here. Let's see if we can get the light just right on this. I mean, those teeth inside there are polished pretty well, and that's just done with a stone. And this arm behind me here that holds the knife, just some pieces of neoprene in there on the other version I made to hold the stones, or to hold the knives. This thing here we fasten to a bench. Okay, so you just clamp this down, and then you have the arm to do exactly what this one does, and it's worked so well that here's what it did to this blade. I gotta get the light just right here. I mean, look at the gullets. I polished most of these to show you guys how it worked, and you don't need anything special to do this. All you need is a door hinge. And I put 2 punch marks. When I pulled the pin out, I put 2 punch marks in the leaf that has only 2 ears on it. Put 2 punch marks in there. Then when you put the pin back in, there won't be any slop in this hinge. Then you only put the hinge on with 1 screw and 1 screw here, and you just snug everything up so there's no slop. 0 slops. You don't want anything to twist left and right. You just want it to be able to move. And as far as this part goes, you just screwed it together. It's nothing special, it's just 4 screws. You don't have any pad in there, you don't have anything. You don't need it. And it still works just as good as the version that I'm showing you behind it here. The only difference is this other version is freestanding, and this version you have to clamp down. But it works just as good. So I thought I'd show you guys that. These are just different length bolts that are used here and here to hold different size, different thickness knife handles. That's all those are for. These simply lift up the unit to get it level. These work like this. That we don't want rolling around. There's a pad in here. I don't know if you can see this. Here, I'll take this off so you can. There's a pad in here that's just metal, little disc I put in. And this pin causes it to rotate and pinch As you tighten these bolts in, it's going to want to do this. Then you can bring this in to bring it back. And you keep these level. Always have level in between here once the knife is snugged up. And you're great. You're good to go. It works really well. I put some little plastic washers in there so nothing binds when you put the stuff together. You don't need any of this. This is all just, hey, it looks cool, because that's what I like to do. But that's why I made the other unit, to prove you don't need any of this fancy crap. This just all looks neat, but you don't need it. And then over here I got a thrust bearing, which you don't, again, have to have. I just put this on in the last year. These are UHMW washers, so they're nice and big, so you're getting full purchase, so you don't get any twist left and right. In here, I didn't even use any thrust bearings. These are just a screw on a washer, and then the nut has been impregnated with epoxy all the way around, so the nut is going nowhere. This just has a little bit of grease under the head, so the screw can move on that washer that's underneath real nice. And then, actually there is a thrust bearing in this one now. I forgot I even finally put that in there. But it's unneeded. Again, for years I had used this without thrust bearings and it worked fine. But it just, I had been using it for so long now, things are finally starting to wear. So I thought, well, let's take care of that for life. And now it'll work forever without messing around with it ever again. So that's how simple it is, guys. You're just, there's a bearing in this pole too, but you could have a bushing. Alright, so there's just a pin sticking into the, a 5/16 pin is in there, poking out of the wood. And that's going into a bearing which I just pressed into. This is a piece of EMT, electrical tubing, painted black. Screw shot through, real simple. You know, this is real easy stuff. And again, no bearings needed. If you want to get fancy, great. And that's all there is to it. This I made nice and heavy so it can sit on its own. You do need one pod in back that's got a little rubber or something on it that's radiused. It has to be slightly rounded. And then the two front ones have to be nice and flat. And that way this thing can move whatever way you need it to move to level your knives. Because when you put your knife in, it will never be level. It'll always be a little hair cocked one way or the other. You just need to level that and then you're good to go. You're ready to start sharpening. And that is really it. If you guys like the video, give me a thumbs up. Give me some comments. Let me know what you think. And you guys got to start building one of these. You're going to just absolutely love how well it works for you. And if you're the guy who sharpens like I used to, where you're a little bit off and a little bit on as you're going through the V and it's over with this game, and you end up with a really nice flat grind that really apexes really nice and uniform all the way around, and it looks nice. You know, that's the difference for me. I like it to look nice too. Why not have something sharp and have it look cool at the same time? You guys take care. Hope you enjoyed the video, and have a good one.